There we go. Hey, May, thanks for coming. So I'd love to open the floor. Who would like to start? Does anyone have a question that they'd like to ask?
I had a question.
Hey, May.
Hey, sorry, my camera's off.
No worries. I'm glad you're
I
here.
can't turn it on right now, but I will when I can. My question was this. Okay, it may be silly, but I wanted to know when you're having fun and singing in your car along to something, or in your shower or something like that. Do you recommend doing anything special that you should remember if you're a student of singing, or can you just have fun and sing how you've always sung?
Yeah, this is a good question. And May is one of my private students, so we have we have a great repertoire. Wrong word, rapport. So good question, May. Yeah. So when we're kind of having fun and just singing to sing, that's great, right? Because that means that you actually like singing, that you're not just doing it, you're not just like forcing yourself to do it, or that you're just kind of like stuck going through the motions. It means that, yeah, this is actually something that you enjoy. I do think that because we are all, studying the voice and trying to continue to improve, that we should never 100% throw our technique out the window, because that's telling your brain that it doesn't really matter all the time, right? So I don't want you to be like, oh, this is so serious, I'm like singing in the car and I need to like remember to put my mouth in this way, and like I don't mean that, but I do mean that it is important to remember that we're constantly retraining our muscle memory on what to do. I think that the things that you just want to really stay away from are like really unhealthy belting. That's something that, like, even if you're just playing around, like that can really impact like the ability for you to keep your voice super healthy, because if you're not paying attention and you're singing too loud, that can be really bad. But I think the main thing that you want to consider when you're just like singing or like playing around singing is just making sure you're still breathing in a way that's allowing you to sing supported. And like I said, it's not like a serious thing or something that should take away any of the fun of it, but that's what is going to allow you to even sing for longer when you're kind of having fun, or even like a karaoke, and it's what's going to continue to keep your progress moving forward too. But I love to hear that you're having fun. So does that answer your question, May, or did I leave you feeling
motivated? Yeah, no, that answers it. And yes, and I yeah, karaoke, that's something that's very important. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
That's when you want to, but I haven't done it in a while, but
yeah,
thank you so much. Good to see you too.
Good to see you too. Yeah, I haven't done karaoke in a little while too. We have, for the opera, one of the, it's funny because I'm 29, right? Which I know sounds young, but some of the people that are in this program are like 19. So I'm like, wow, I'm like a full 10 years older than this person. And they're amazing. Like I love the whole cast, but it's just funny. Like I could tell they're, a different generation than me. And one of them set up a Facebook messaging with everyone in the opera in it. So it's really hilarious. People are like, they're like blowing up the message all day. But someone said, we should all go to karaoke. I was like, oh God, this is either going to be like really fun or like extreme. Like everyone's just going to be like extremely annoyed that we're there. But yeah, it's a good experience. Daniel, hey, I haven't seen you in a while or heard from you in a while. How are you doing? And do you have a question that you'd like me to answer? You can unmute yourself.
Yes, hi, Lauren.
Hey.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty okay. Just came back from a lesson.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's your free time.
Yeah, it came pretty well. Yeah, it was pretty fun too. Yeah.
So
Yes.
do you have any questions you want to ask?
Yes, I have one. Oh, two.
Okay.
What is belting and mixed voice?
Okay, great question. So Daniel studies with Dr. Kyle, who's one of the teachers that works in my virtual studio. And so let's start with let's just start talking a little bit about the registers because we have to start there. So chest voice is our really more of our speaking range. When we're speaking in chest voice. And usually it's kind of like the lower half or more of our voice. For men, a lot more of your range is like your natural chest voice. For women, it's a little bit more half and half, if we want to really, really simplify it. So then when we say like, oh, what register are we using? What we're really talking about is the muscle sets that bring the vocal folds together. So those muscle sets, they help bring the vocal folds together. And then when the air comes through our trachea, comes through our larynx, then the air does the rest of the work. Right. So there's two moving parts of the singing. And so the chest voice has a muscle set and the head voice has a different muscle set. Now, a lot of times we simplify it and we'll be like, okay, this is only chest voice or this is only head voice. And that can be true for a couple of the notes in our range, but a lot of the time it's really more of a spectrum, right? So it's really more of like 10% head, 90% chest, or as we go up, it can be, and we're getting more in the middle of our range, right before we're about to switch, it can be much, much closer to 40-60 or 50-50. So normally when we're talking about mixed voice, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about that special section of our range where we really have to change how we are using the voice in order to still be able to phonate, right? Phonate just means that our vocal folds are still coming together in a healthy way and we're still making sound. So for me, let's see if you can hear it in my voice, if my piano will turn on. Maybe it won't. Let me re-plug it in. Okay, it's not going to do it. That's okay. I don't know what's going on with it, but so I'll just make up some notes here. So if I'm in my full chest voice, it would be like this. Now that's very low for me, right? So that's like 100% chest voice. Now, if I would bring it to a little bit more of a low range, but not that low, it might be more like right? I'm still using mostly chest voice, but it doesn't have that like, okay, this is 100% chest voice. That sound is probably more like 10% head voice, 90% chest, right? Now, if I get up even higher, let's see. Oh, here we go. My piano decided to turn on. For me, this is G4. Now, all of a sudden, there's a lot more of that lightness, that ease, that kind of higher sound mixed in to the chest, right? But I haven't fully flipped into my head voice yet. So when people say mixed voice, usually that's the section that they're talking about. And it's important to remember that, we teach people of all different levels. And so a lot of times we get more specific about these things as you continue your studies. A lot of times if you're listening to like free content, or even if you're like watching my YouTube videos, I will simplify this, right? I'll be like, okay, chest voice is this, all right, head voice is this, and make it really obvious so that people can just kind of get the the very top of the understanding of that. Now, belting is very specific, right? So belting is when we're carrying up the chest. It's not a full chest voice. It's kind of like a chest mix up into where we would normally be switching. And so you're going to hear this a lot in pop music, in musical theater, and men and women can belt, right? Actually, Dr. Kyle does a lot of musical theater. So if you're curious about belting, definitely ask him. He might have a little bit of a different answer, but we're all headed in the same direction. So for example, for me, I can sing this C like this. And this is C, I'm getting confused here. Yeah, this is C5. I can sing it like this. Ooh, that's head voice, right? Or I can sing it like this. Ooh, now I'm belting. So you'll notice that the belt, it still sounds like me. It doesn't sound like I'm pushing. It doesn't sound like, oh my God, I'm trying to be so loud, right? Because belting gets a very bad rap because of when people, a lot of times when people teach themselves how to do it, they learn it in a very unhealthy way. And people really blow out their voices over belting. So yeah, I would say since you're an active student, I would ask Kyle to show you if he has any belting exercises that he would want you to work on. Is belting in any of the music that you're currently working on or that you're interested in, Daniel? Because I don't really know what kind of music you like.
Probably in the future, like see like the Bruno Mars When I Was Your Man.
Oh
Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bruno Mars is an interesting topic in himself because he has a very rare voice. He has an extremely high voice, and a lot of the time, he is so versatile that he could be belting 1 second, and then the next second he's in a very trained, pointed, head voice. Because he can sing in falsetto, but he can also sing in like a very trained up head voice where his vocal folds are really coming together all the way. When I say falsetto, I mean that the person has switched to head voice, but usually they're not letting their vocal folds come together all the way. So it happens more in like kind of indie, like that. Ooh, ooh, that's like a female falsetto. Obviously, I cannot demonstrate a male falsetto for you, but does that answer your question, Daniel?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for coming. Okay, Gia, do you want to ask a question or are you just hanging? It's okay if you're just hanging out too.
Actually,
Oh, Gia, you're actually breaking up a little bit.
didn't have a question until, but it just occurred to me. I wanted to ask. All right, can you hear me now?
Kind of, go quick.
I can access like an area of my chest voice, and I'm thinking that maybe I'm belting, but it doesn't feel any different. Should it feel different if I'm belting?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of times when I have my students like first attain a healthy belt, they say that it feels like they're talking on a high note. And it doesn't, a lot of times if you're doing it the right way, it'll kind of be like, is this it? Right? Because we've kind of trained ourselves to think that belting is supposed to be like big and scary and difficult. For me, it doesn't feel different. The larynx is, just a quick review for those of you who don't know the larynx. When I say the larynx, I'm talking about the full vocal mechanism, right? So there's cartilage, it's right here, right? There's cartilage that blocks it. You have the vocal folds and then there's cartilage around it too. So yeah, does that answer your question, Gia? You can also type, I think if you can pull up your chat, you can also type if you have any other questions, because you're going in and out still. Or you can turn off your video. Why don't you try turning off your video?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you're a little bit frozen. I hope it answered your question. If it didn't, send me a chat. Okay, hey, Howard. Howard's in the house. I don't know you, Howard, but I think you must be on my email list because I invited everyone. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask?
Not really. I'm here to observe. My situation is a little different. Well, as you know, theater's been quite bleak the last year. I have a musical that I've written, and I'm just waiting to get it produced. My latest request is the director wants cleaner demos. I have pretty clean demos of the music, but they want clean demos. So I have to go about and re-record them. And as you can imagine, they're all different characters. So I'll be singing them. I do have a female a voice to help me on the female songs, but I'll be doing all the male songs, and the characters are different. I have a problem a lot of times with the higher notes. I can hit the high notes, but I don't know whether to go for the high note or the falsetto, and it's hard to judge which is better.
Yeah, are you a baritone or are you a tenor?
I think I'm a baritone.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't sung regularly for a while. I've been in bands, a lot of bands, but I haven't really sung in public other than the recording I've done for the musical. And then the songs are in different registers because they're different characters as well. So that's where my dilemma with how to approach them and what register, it's
Yeah.
that's
Wow.
why-
I mean, first of all, congratulations on writing a musical. That's really amazing. A lot of people who say they're going to write a musical, maybe finish only a couple songs of it, never finish the whole thing. Yeah, I would say, what city do you live in?
Philly.
You're in Philly. So you're in a city with so many singers.
Yes.
I'd say if you just made a couple community posts and you said, hey, you kind of explain the situation, because it would be really helpful if you got a tenor to help you do the higher songs. And people are happy to do something like that if you just offer them a stipend, right? Because ultimately people are they want to put something on their resume, and they want to feel like they're not doing it because they're like going to try to make a bunch of money, but they're doing it for the experience and to network. Yeah. So if I were you, that's what I would do. I would, get one or two other people to record the songs that are too high or too high for you, and also maybe too high or low for the other female. Right. And then it also might help give those demos a little bit more care, just a little bit more care.
No, I agree 100% with that. Yes.
And then to answer your question about should you hit the notes with your high voice or your falsetto? I mean, obviously it's very difficult for me to say without hearing you do it. But I would remember that for the demos, they're just trying to get an idea of what the songs are going to sound like and what kind of voice parts are going to be needed to be able to cast into them. So I wouldn't worry so much about am I hitting this note, this way or this way? I would be more worried about the health of your voice. Cause it sounds like it's going to be like a very big, undertaking to re-record these. And you just want to make sure, my dog is playing guard dog here. You just want to make sure that you don't, hurt yourself or blow out your voice while you're doing it. And you can always make notations like in the music and maybe you already know all this, but this is just from my perspective as a teacher and a singer. how you want those higher notes to be sung. Do you feel like you can sing them a little bit more belted or a little bit more with a full voice, or it's like it's you that's something that can happen?
I think it's a matter of taste, because I think I can do them both ways, but I never know which one is better. I think they're just different, you know, and I guess it all suits the situation that the song is
Totally.
in the show. And that's something the director, I think, or at least the musical director would have to step in and say, hey, do this way, or don't do that.
Yeah, and it really depends on the colors that you want. It depends on, you know, the meaning of the song. Obviously, if it's like a more somber or morose song, you're not going to want to have this like power high note at the end of it. You might want a little bit more falsetto, but it's going to depend on, like you said, yeah, it's going to depend on what you want because you're the composer. It's going to depend on the music director. The conductors always have like a ton of opinions as well. And sometimes actually the conductors they get the final say over the director, which is something I'm experiencing a lot right now, which is interesting. And I actually haven't experienced that before, but I think it's because the conductor of the show I'm doing is actually a singer too. And then ultimately, it's going to depend on who you cast in the role or who they cast in the role.
Right.
But that's so interesting and a really good question. Did you have any other questions?
No, like I said, I'm just here to, I'm not a vocalist. You know, like I said, my band days, I haven't been in a band quite some time. So my vocal performing I didn't want to say they're over, but there's always karaoke.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if you ever want to take a lesson, let me know. You have my email, and I actually have another student. I'm surprised she's not here. Her name is Louise. She's written a couple musicals as well, and she's
awesome.
kind of done. She kind of made them and produced them herself. So it sounds like you have a lot of other people in the mix. But it's really fun to work on, you know, whether it's musical or whether it's just original music that's more pop or rock. Right. That's really fun to work on that with people, because sometimes it's even harder for someone after they've written a song to then come back and look at it in the lens of how do I sing this, yes, instead of being so attached to what you want it to sound like.
Yes, or having a new voice approach it in a completely different manner than you even imagined when writing it.
Yes, that's so exciting. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thanks, Howard, for joining us, and I'm sure we'll chat soon. So let me go to the Google form here that I had people fill out. There's two really good questions in here, and then we'll wrap up. So, and if any of you who have, you know, if you have a question, obviously you can always put it in the chat as well while I tackle these two. So the first one is, how do you best transition from low to high pitch? What kind of support is necessary? So this kind of touches on what we were talking about with Daniel on really understanding registration. That's what this is kind of falls under that topic. So the transitioning from the low pitch to high pitch, I think the best way to practice this is in the warm-ups, right? When we do warm-ups, we're not just throwing our voice around, we're really practicing how is it that I'm going to approach this similar situation when I'm in a song. And when we're on the warm-ups and when we spend time like really focusing, you know, like during warm-ups is a time when I really advocate, you know, to my students, don't do these in the car. You know, don't do your warm-ups when you're picking up laundry or when you're, you know, mopping the floor. You really want to do your warm-ups when your mind is present with your body so that you can actually use them to propel your technique forward and that you don't, you know, go back to all your old habits. And a lot of really good of the low to high pitch exercises are the fifths, right? You know, so just doing scales. Ooh, 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 ooh. by the time you continue to get up, just 2 or 3 more steps from that, I'm already in a range where I'm in chest, mix, and head. And so when you can really master that in those technique warm-ups, another one I like is the, oh no, wait, what is this one? Yeah. So that I'm already the top note on that G sharp. I'm already starting to feel even more mix come in. And so what kind of support is necessary? So we always are supporting our voice, right? There's never a time when we're like, oh, I don't really think I need to support this, right? And this goes for all genres, right? Whether you're singing opera, whether you're singing musical theater, whether you're singing pop, rock, jazz, you have to support your sound, right? It's not your throat's job to support your singing, it's your core's job, right? So it means that you're always, and sorry, this room is so messy. These are all my costumes from last night. I realized I didn't put them away. So you're always breathing like this. You know, you're getting that low breath going. How much air you actually need is going to depend on the phrase, but that's going and that you're feeling your ribs staying open. Right now, if you're singing a pop song that doesn't have extremely long phrases, you're not going to have to take the biggest breath in the world, but the idea is still the same, right? The idea is that you're taking a smaller low breath and that you're feeling like this, the lower half of your body is awake, right? We also get a ton of energy from our legs. So I really recommend standing, you know, whether you're practicing, whether you're singing your songs, you're going to be able to get a lot more bang for your buck. Sometimes people, when I'm teaching, they're like, oh, I'm having such a bad day. I can't sing, like I can't support my voice. And I'm like, just stand up and try it again. And it's like, you know, it's fixed. And it's really because singing is a full body activity. I say that like 20 times a day. Singing is a full body activity. Let me just take a drink of water. The other thing you want to consider when you're going up into your higher range, when you're making that transition, is the space, right? So sound is made, we are basically a wind instrument. As singers, we're basically a wind instrument, right? So wind instruments, and actually all instruments, have 3 parts to them, right? The first part is the generator. So as a singer, our generator, think about it. What generates the sound? The breath, right? Then we have a vibrator. What is the vibrator in our singing? The vocal folds, right? The vocal folds are coming together like this. They're vibrating together. They're being generated, that movement's being generated by the airflow. And then the part that it honestly gets a little bit difficult to talk about. So I think a lot of voice teachers skip it. And I skipped it too when I was just starting, because I didn't know how to talk about it the right way. Now I know how to talk about it the right way. It's the resonator. So when people hyper focus on vowel shape, and trust me, you can ask me. I talk about vowel shape a lot. But when people hyper focus on vowel shape and they're not teaching their students the bigger picture, which is the shape of the mouth, right? The size of the mouth, and also the size of the throat. That is our primary resonator, right? The pharynx, PHARNYX, I think. I might be skipping like one vowel in there, but if you want to look it up, is the space right above our vocal folds. That's also referred to as the vocal tract. That's the first resonator. Second resonator is the mouth. Third resonator is the space right before our nasal cavity. That's called the nasopharynx. But the mouth is the most important. So if you're trying to sing a high note and your jaw is clenched, your teeth are together, and you're like, of course it's not going to come out, right? And I should have warmed up before this. I'm not warmed up right now. But as I'm going up, I'm breathing in, I'm lifting my soft palate. My soft palate is, your soft palate's the cushy part behind your, if you feel this is your hard palate. Now stick your tongue back. That's your soft palate. There's actually a muscle set right above that. And the muscle set lifts like this. And it's voluntary, which means that you can move it, right? So when you breathe in, I'm feeling it lift. You know, if you can't feel it lift, try feeling like your eyebrows lifting. I feel like those parts of my body, for some reason, they're very connected to each other internally. So a lot of times when I show my students how to do it, I'm like, go like this. They're like, you have crazy eyes. But yeah, so you're lifting here, and then you're also making sure your jaw is unhinged, right? I carry a lot of stress in my jaw. So thinking about the jaw is something I actually have to do on a daily basis because I grind my teeth at night. So every single night, I know I'm doing this because I have to wear a retainer. Otherwise I wake up with a headache. And so just thinking about that, you know, but actually do this. Everyone put your hands right here and give yourself like a downward little massage. And find that space, right? When your jaw is relaxed, not open, right? I'm actually not opening. I'm just letting it unhinge here. Sorry, let me mute this. Already, there's so much more room in my mouth. Now I'm gonna actually open my mouth. And it's so much more of a natural space. So we need the natural space to find our high notes. Okay, that was a long answer, but that was a deep question. So I do not think I have a singing voice. How can I start my singing journey? So I love this question. First of all, if you have a speaking voice, you have a singing voice. I truly, truly, truly believe that, because I have taught people who cannot match pitch, and then they learn how to match pitch and they learn how to sing. So the vocal folds when we're speaking work the same way as when we're singing, except for there's more air pressure, right? The air pressure is what helps us get that sound out. And the air pressure and the full body that we add when we're singing is what changes our voice from speaking to singing, right? But a lot of the exercises I do with my students are speaking based, right? So I would recommend, there's a couple videos on my YouTube that are like speaking to singing, but they have these exercises in them. So if you go, hi, my name is Lauren. Everyone say this. You don't have to unmute yourself, but just say hi and then what your name is. So hi, my name is Lauren. Okay. Now I'm going to refine my posture. I realized I was just doing this. So I'm going to refine my posture. I'm going to take a breath, and then I'm going to speak it from a supported place. Hi, my name is Lauren. Okay. So now that sounds a little bit different, right? It sounds already like I'm moving from speaking into another kind of category. Hi, my name is Lauren, right? Now we're actually going to put pitches to that. Hi, my name is Lauren. And I'm telling you, I can hear the difference, and I know you can hear the difference, and maybe you could feel the difference in yourself between your speaking and your singing, but effort-wise, it feels the same. Effort-wise, right? So really starting to ponder that and start to connect to your projected speaking voice. That's where you should start, right? And then just start with some simple warm-ups. Start doing some warm-ups every day. You know, if you are someone that is, and I don't know who asked this question because this is anonymous on the form, but if you're someone who is looking for voice lessons, we can definitely help you with that. We have lots of different teachers are accepting students right now in my virtual studio. If you're someone who kind of wants to do more solo work, I do have a singing membership site, which is called Total Vocal Transformation, and that's where usually just those people and then the private students are invited to these events. But this one, I just was like, everyone's going to be invited to it. And I'm going to put this up on my YouTube as my video for tomorrow. yeah, so there's some support there. But I would say really just starting watching, doing some warm up videos and picking a song that you like, but that's not, you can tell it's an easy song to sing. You know, like I start some people off with Happy Birthday, Row, Row, Row Your Boat, you know, Star Spangled Banner, somewhere like those songs that you've been singing forever that you already know. And really just starting to get your voice out of your body is going to be important. But that's amazing. So exciting that someone is totally a brand new beginner and they found their way to the question sheet. So yes, does anyone have any other questions? I know sometimes just talking and you know, being with other people that are singers can kind of you know, inspire some questions. Let's see, while you are if you have any other questions, I have one more of the July recordings to send out, and then those are all done. Or the June recordings. If you're someone who's in the membership, you're watching this on the replay, remember that the July recording will be due July 15th. For those of you who don't know, if you're in my membership, one of the perks of being in the membership is you get a free record, or not free, but it's part of the membership, recording review every month. So you can send me in a recording of yourself singing, and then I send you back my feedback. And let's see what else. I'm still picking the dates for July for the other live classes. We'll have 2 more live classes in July. This is kind of like the June makeup. I wanted to try to have it Monday or Tuesday, but I had so many rehearsals, I just couldn't do it. So thanks, Daniel, Howard, May. Gia looks like she already signed out, but thanks so much for coming and making this a fun experience for me. And hopefully I'm very, you know, informative for those who are watching the replay. If you are watching the replay and you have any questions, you can feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube video or email me. If you have any other questions, my email is hello@singingwithlauren.com. And I think that's everything. So thanks everyone. Enjoy your 4th of July, and I'll see you soon.
Great class. Thank you, Lauren.
Thanks, May. You're welcome, Howard. See you guys later. Bye,
Of
Daniel.
course.